Hey, what's up? So I know the title of this video might sound quite provocative. However, at least in my opinion, it's the truth, or part of the truth, to be honest. So the whole concept of this video is that I recently started this series of modern harmony infographics on Facebook and Instagram, and the series is called the Harmonic Insight series. Yeah, that's lame. So yeah, the first part, which I uploaded a few days ago, and the second part, which I uploaded today, the day that I'm filming this video, they're both around the concept of chord scales, which is a term I don't really like for the concept. However, it has to be called something, and it's okay to call it like that. Harmony and melody, as guitar players, perceive them as two different things all the time. And that's the core of the problem, where we stay at this intermediate kind of stage for years and years and years, because we don't really make the connection in our heads that, harmony, chords, and melody can be the same thing. Like, for example, instead of arranging a song for a band to play, so you have the bass, the chords of the piano or the guitar, and you have like the melody, which could be the horns or the singer or whatever. And instead of just thinking about music only like that, you can do all of this on the guitar. Now, I know this sounds hard, and I'm not actually saying play the bass, the drums, the melody, the chords. You can do that. That gets to like really advanced territories. However, it's nice to connect the different elements of music even in the most basic way. And that's why this lesson is great for beginners as well, because you get to see what you need to practice in order to get the grand picture of music. I mean, it's not really our fault, guitar players, who don't make this connection. I didn't make this connection until, I was playing for 8 years or something. So it's basically the nature of our instrument. It's kind of hard to memorize the notes and the patterns in here. It's difficult, all right? Let's face it. It's probably one of the most difficult instruments in terms of music theory. And that's why people don't rely on it so much and visualize little boxes in order, to play. However, it doesn't need to stay like that. There are shortcuts on the instrument. There are a lot of helpful shortcuts, and it is possible to visualize music in a simple way. Not like the piano simple, but simple. Having said that, before I move on, I want to make certain that, we're not going to talk about intervals and chord shapes and, scale shapes and triads and all those things. Those are kind of necessary in order to understand what we're going to talk about. However, you still get to understand what you need to work on, even if you don't know those things. So, for example, it's not the best thing in the world to always visualize your chords like that. Okay, it's not realistic to play like that on the guitar. So it's better to visualize them like that. And same goes for all the positions. So you get to do that. So going from C major 7 to B half diminished to all positions. So and I know I'm not playing the 7th here, but you could. Or all right. So yeah, we're gonna make the whole lesson revolve around one rough area on the guitar. I want to show you the fact that, I want to demonstrate the fact that you get to explore more if you restrict yourself within a limit on the guitar. This is very helpful if you want to explore new chords, because, you know, if you're like, all right, this is the D minor, and this is the E minor, and this is the F major, and this is the G7, so you're not able to explore and get new voicings. These are new shapes that, you know, we didn't play. So yeah, let's stick to that. So the method consists of two different main topics: how you can transform your chord playing, how you can transform your solo playing. So those two, at the end of the day, need to be interconnected to each other. However, we're not going to talk about this in this video. We're going to look at how we can transform our chordal playing by first embellishing our chords with the notes of the scale, and second, you know, adding other notes to the chord so the chord itself gets modified. On the topic of soloing, we're going to explore how you don't think about the C major scale only. You think about all the diatonic chords within the scale as triads or as four-note chords, and therefore your solo has more harmonic movement and it's much more interesting. Let's explore those topics one by one. Let's start talking about how we can upgrade our chord voicings first. Let's start from C major, nice and easy. C major 7, all right? Your basic voicing. You know, you can get all sorts of nice voicings of C major if you start messing around with what you can do, okay? So you get this one, you get this one, you can get the ninth here. You can do the same thing, but instead of, you know, your root being here on the A string, your root can go to the E string. And if you think about it, those three notes stay exactly where they were. So, you know, if you just start thinking about how I can put the notes of the scale within the chord shapes that I know, you get to actually properly explore the voicings, and you can come up with things like or, you know, there's all sorts of, you know, interesting voicings that you can play. Even the G major can fit within the C major. Anyway, let's not get ahead of ourselves. So what you want to do is, while you're exploring those voicings, you want to pick some that you like and perhaps write them down, or on a tab, or on notation, or, you know, a diagram, whatever you want. You can even shoot videos of yourself showing the voicings to yourself the next day that you watch the video. I don't know. So you can be creative with that. Now, you want to pick a few voicings that you like for C major. And then let's start exploring this by playing a chord progression. So then you play A minor. All right, and you want to find nice voicings for your A minor too. The purpose of this video is not really to show you 100 different voicings. The purpose of this video is to show you what is the mechanism in order to explore and find your own voicings, because that's the way to get better at guitar, not to just copy what you hear and see, but to actually try to create things of your own. Be creative with it, okay? I mean, of course, there are certain types of voicings that all guitarists play. However, the guitar is a far far unexplored instrument, especially the electric guitar. It's been around for only, I don't know, 100 years or so, and it hasn't been explored yet. The abilities of the electric guitar haven't been explored yet to the full, of course. So who's to say that an intermediate guitar player wouldn't be able to do innovative stuff? Who's to say that? That's why I strongly believe in the method of liberation. So, okay, you need to show someone the exact steps to a specific method, and yeah, that's very helpful, but you need to let this person also explore it in her or his own way. You need both. Enough of philosophy here. Let's now try to play these chords, so C major and A minor, and see what nice combinations of the voicings we have selected we can actually play. Now, I kindly ask you to remember that this usually sounds like, you know, the thing that you've heard 1,000,000 times in your life. So we haven't heard this 1,000,000 times in our lives, all right? Yeah, I know that's kind of a difficult voicing, but it's one I like. And you get to do all sorts of creative things. Now, these don't only work in an emotional, sentimental, or ambient kind of vibe. They can also work in more groovy stuff like. And, you know, you can leave out the bass. Actually, that's something that you should be doing every time you play with a bass player, all right? So otherwise the bass player gets angry. So yeah, I mean, I haven't really prepared stuff to show you in terms of actually sitting down and writing down what I'm playing in this video. I'm actually improvising it at the moment. So I'm doing this on purpose because I want to show you the liberative powers of this method. Okay, I wouldn't just sit down and prepare something really cool and then, you know, say, oh yeah, you can do that. Yeah, I spent 3 hours writing my ideas. No, I wouldn't do that. Okay, I want to be honest with you. This method is liberative. So let's move on to the second aspect of transforming our chordal playing. We can embellish our chords by throwing in their notes of the scale without them being part of the chord. So let's check this out a little bit. Let's not make this hour-long improvisation video. Okay, so just to get the idea of how this can work both in transforming your actual chords and both in embellishing your chords. You can embellish your standard voicings that you know all these years. It's not a good idea to play a weird voicing that you haven't played and embellish that one. That's not a good idea. Try to separate the things. So embellish the voicing that you know. For example, C major, all right? Okay? So yeah, I honestly mean that. Stick to either embellishing a voicing that you've played quite a few times or to transforming a voicing. I wouldn't embellish this voicing, for example. If, of course, I never played this voicing before. Now, I have played this voicing quite a few times, so or whatever. So we looked at how we can use the concept of chord scales in order to, transform our chordal playing. And let's now look at how we can transform our solo playing. So the first thing that a guitar player will do when they're asked to play over a certain key is to find the scale and, play around that scale. Now, that's not the way to go. I mean, unless your ears work like super good, you won't be able to outline the harmony of the song this way. Even if your ears are working super good, you should still be able to do what I'm about to say now. So they tell you, let's play in C major. You don't think C, D, E, F, G, A, B and just find the notes or the shapes that you know. You think that this scale has 7 different chords, all right? Let's stick to triads for now. Now, as I said, I'm not gonna explain this a lot. This is a topic that you can access on the internet. What are the chords of the C major scale? Now, what you need to think about is those chords not only as chord shapes, but as triads. Okay, so don't go for don't do that. Just a little, chunk of 3 notes every time. So C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, all right? And try to do that everywhere. That's a really nice exercise. So by doing this exercise, you get to solo like this. Trying to fit a lot of different styles in here so that I can show you the different possibilities that you can get, and this concept is not stylistically restrictive. Okay, so let's do something a bit more chill now. Even like when I'm playing single notes, I'm really thinking about triads. Even if I do that, I'm like thinking that it's part of that. Or when I play this one, I might think that it's part of this one. I'm not only thinking triads, I'm also thinking like 4-note chords, okay? So F major 7. If I'm playing, for example, this note, I might think that it's part of an F major 7 as well. Or so each note can have like so many different meanings. So let's now do the following. I'll be playing some stuff and I'll be explaining what I'm playing, all right? So here's a C major idea. I think I played that in my improvisation earlier. Here's a G major idea. Because that's another thing. When you know what you're doing, you can remember what you were doing, all right? So, yeah. That's strictly an F major 7 arpeggio, nothing else. But you know, you can play an arpeggio like F major 7, for example, again, and then it can turn into another arpeggio. So we need to kind of get rid of the idea that the melodic movement is always gonna be, you know, it can be F major, G7, going to a C major, all right, with a bit of distortion. Cool idea is to like throw in your pentatonic stuff. And then put in your triads as well. Okay, so that's like pretty much the whole concept of like transforming your solo. I didn't play jazz today, although, you know, I like to play jazz mostly, because I wanted to show you that it is really important to learn this even if you are a rock guitar player, or a blues guitar player, or a funk guitar player, or any guitar player, okay? It's not a stylistic related concept. Modern harmony is not just for jazz musicians, although modern harmony kind of means jazz harmony too. Let's face it, okay? I mean, jazz harmony gets deeper, of course, but modern harmony is still a big part of jazz harmony. So don't think of them as two separate things, okay? You need to like know your harmony inside out if you wanna play at any style you want. You know, I could sit here talking about this all day, okay? It's a very wide topic and there are so many different tricks and shortcuts and methods to apply to this depending on, you know, the style you're playing also. So honestly, it's something that I just wanted to give you the grand picture of how to actually break the eternal intermediate barrier in terms of the 2/3 of it. The other 1/3, which is the most important thing, is rhythm. And before you go into like, you know, exploring so many different keys and so many modes and stuff, I would advise you to first, you know, work with rhythm, which is what we're gonna do on the second video of how to break the eternal intermediate barrier. Because in order to break the eternal intermediate barrier, you need to kind of have a solid understanding and a solid perception of rhythm. Again, everything I played in this video was all 100% improvised while I was filming. So the reason for that is very simple. I wanted to be 100% honest with you and show you that Instead of sitting down, taking all the time in the world to create your ideas and to make them sound as good as possible, you just do it now on the spot. And you take advantage of the moment, of the flow of the moment, which is something very important in music. So, in order to take advantage of the flow of the moment, what you need is to have all the information accessible on the fretboard instantly and linked to each other. It's not hard. It sounds hard, but it's not. Okay, it just needs a very specific method, and within, a few months' time, you're there. You don't have to struggle for years, okay? There is an organized way of looking at the fretboard. The first thing you need to do is to know your intervals really well, and then you go into learning, the scales, the triads, the four-note arpeggios, the chords, okay? And when you learn one of them, you link it to the others. So it's not like a topic on its own, arpeggios, a topic on its own, scales, a topic on its own, chords. No, it's all one topic. You try to link them. You don't learn too many. That's the best way to go. You don't learn too much information and then try to link them. Just learn one chord, connect it to the arpeggio, connect it to the scale. Learn another chord, do the same thing. Don't learn all the chords in the world and then connect them to the scales after you learn all the scales in the world, okay? It doesn't make sense to do that. And try to use all the material within songs, okay? So try to apply all of this into songs that you know and play, and apply them into writing your own stuff. That's very important too, even if you're not interested in becoming a songwriter, composer, whatever. It's really important to explore your inner voice. This way you can play other people's songs better. It works the same way as, if you don't learn other people's songs, you won't be able to write your own that easily. Now, if you want to explore more topics like this one, I've got a Patreon page up and running with a lot of useful material in there. For example, in my Patreon page, you will find all the parts of the Harmonic Insight series that I have created so far. Thank you for watching the whole way through. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoy practicing and internalizing what we covered today. I hope you make the most of it and have a lot of fun. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one.